Bismillah. During the workshop today, inshallah, I am going to be asking you some questions. Sometimes I'm going to ask you to share your answers, and sometimes it's just for you, for your own reflection. So the first question is, do you think parenting today is harder than it was for your own parents? And according to a study by Pew Research, 66% of parents in America believe that parenting today is harder than it was 20 years ago. Another question, what is contributing to parenting challenges nowadays? And so now I would like to hear actually from people in the chat, if you wouldn't mind responding, typing in the chat, what are some of the challenges to parenting nowadays? Social media contributing to the difficulty of parenting, and overall impact of the schools and social media and friends, misunderstanding, I'm guessing from the culture or for the culture. Okay. Easy access to everything in the world on the internet. Yes, indeed. And another response is everything around us. So actually, also according to the Pew Research, 26% of those parents think that technology in general is to blame, and 21% think that it's the fault of social media and its negative impacts. For me, I was interested to see that the percentage was actually lower than what I was expecting. I was expecting, like, I don't know, 90% of parents will blame technology. So moving on, let's define what is social media first, so we know what we're talking about. So according to Wikipedia, social media are interactive technologies and digital channels that facilitate the creation and sharing of information, ideas, interests, and other forms of expression through virtual communities and networks. It's an expanding space that keeps changing. So another question for your own reflection, how many social media profiles do you personally have? This is for you. And also reflects on whether these profiles are for personal use or professional use. As I said earlier, the social media space is actually, it keeps changing. So for now, I really don't know all of the applications and outlets for social media myself, and I don't really care about keeping track of them, because my clients come into the office and they teach me, and they inform me of all the different things and the new things and what's good about this one and what's good about this one. I'm gonna remind some of you who have older children that the first social media that became global was called MySpace. Some people right now don't remember what MySpace was, but it was a big thing. And it came out into our world in 2003. So this wasn't actually a long time ago. And this is a key factor when we are talking about social media. It's very transient. Things change very quickly, as we're going to see with some of the statistics in a little bit. And the infographic that you're seeing is basically percentage of parents. I'm not sure actually if it's parents. Percentage of individuals who are concerned about specific, they are actually evaluating which platforms in social media are concerning them the most. So for example, if you look, you see 48% are concerned more about Instagram, while TikTok is only 40%. Like, it's very interesting how these things, play out and how people react to them. And also statistics change very rapidly depending on how we as users are interacting with these different platforms. Okay. Now, when we are talking about social media, we need to acknowledge a couple of things. Number one, social media for the time being is not going to disappear. It's actually a part of our life now. So we need to accept this as a fact and in a way stop fighting it. And the second point that is very important is to recognize that there are challenges and there are opportunities with using social media. So we cannot just go ahead and demonize it completely and label it as completely negative without also understanding what's the appeal. Why do people use it? And so I'm going to ask you, on a personal level, or for the children's, from a children's perspective, and go ahead and please write in the chat, what do you think are some of the benefits of using social media? And reflect on yourself as a person. And maybe some of you don't use social media at all, but for a lot of us who have family in other parts of the world, many of us, we use WhatsApp, which is part of the social media, platforms. So reflect on you personally. What are the benefits of using social media for yourself? And think about it from the perspective of your children. And please go ahead and write in the chat. Connecting with similar-minded people, knowing the news, personal or public, to stay in touch with friends and family. Keeping up with all the new trends, concepts that my kids are exposed to every day. Staying in touch with what is happening in the lives of relatives and friends. Personally, I do not see any benefit from it. I believe it has become a way of less face-to-face or via phone communications with loved ones. Yes, this is the part of the negative, but we're trying to focus on the positives for now because we don't want to do all or nothing. Because if we do all or nothing when we are talking to our kids about social media, we are going to lose them. We're not going to be able to influence them. They're going to actually zone us out completely. Expressing themselves. These are some of the ideas from the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry about the benefits of social media. And you have mentioned, you've actually mentioned all of them. Yes. Next question. What are now we can talk about the challenges of social media. It's like much easier for us to come up with the challenges. So let's go ahead and hear from you in the chat. And already we heard from some of you that it minimizes the face-to-face interactions and the actual real deep connection with others. So what other challenges do we encounter from using social media? Waste of time. People can become addicted. Keeping track of my kids' exposed content. It's hard. Yes, it's definitely a huge challenge. Fake news. Definitely. We've heard enough about fake news under Trump. And it continues. It didn't stop. Absolutely. Misleading information. Yes, indeed. So if we go to the challenges, and this is according to the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, exposure to harmful or inappropriate content. And now we're focusing on kids specifically. Definitely having access or dangerous people or people with harmful intents actually having access to the children. Cyber bullying, kids not recognizing the limits or the boundaries of how much personal information to share, being definitely impacted by advertisements. And because we don't know how these big companies are actually collecting data, we don't know how much is being private in terms of their use. And definitely, of course, something that some of us have been exposed to, which is identity theft or being hacked. So these are some of the challenges of using social media. Now, as I said earlier, social media is not going to disappear. it is there, so we need to learn how to deal with it. So I'm going to begin by asking you, as an individual, as a parent, how much time do you spend on social media? What are you modeling to your children? What do your children see? How do they see you use social media? And the problem with the use of social media is sometimes we pull out our phones and look on social media or use it whenever, when we are bored or when we are waiting in line. And so we do not really add all of these minutes, if you will, to see how much we are actually spending on social media. So just an invitation for you to reflect on, what are you personally doing? What are you modeling? And what are your children seeing? And how is it impacting you? Is it beneficial for you? Or are you experiencing some of the negative impacts of social media? We are going to, I'm gonna go through some statistics now. So forgive me, because there are gonna be a few slides, one after another. Just to have some understanding from numbers point of view around different factors related to social media. So first thing, let's see. According to some studies, children under the age of 2 are spending on average 42 minutes per day on screens. 95% of teens have access to smartphones. This is either they own it or they are using their parents' phone or their friend's phone. 58% of the world uses social media. Almost 75% of the world over the, if we add the children group to the first statistic here, so 75% of individuals over the age of 13 use social media, a big jump. On average, people are spending 2 hours and 27 minutes per day on social media. 93% of internet users are using the internet specifically for social media use. And this was interesting for me, because typically we have actually the opposite impression. Only 46% of social media users are females. That was interesting. I thought females would be more than males in their use of social media. Now we're going to be looking at teen statistics specifically from 13 to 17. 87% own an iPhone. 88% expect an iPhone to be their next phone. And non-school related screen time jumped from 3.8 hours per day before the pandemic to 7.7 hours. And this is not related to schoolwork. This is not related to homework. 95% of teens have daily access to a smartphone. 46% report being online almost constantly, almost all the time. And 34% picked Snapchat as their favorite social media network, and then they chose TikTok as their second favorite, 29 of those. Okay. Let's see. Still, we are focusing on teens. So we talked about Snapchat, and then this one we did. Okay, and here I want to highlight your attention to the differences in statistics. So you have this one here telling you that in the fall of 2020, Snapchat was the favorite social media for teens. And this one by AP News is saying that actually in 2020, TikTok overtook YouTube as the most used app for teens. So you just have to take some of these numbers with a grain of salt, and also look at the studies of how they did it. But it just gives us also a glimpse into what is going on also with our team. The largest user demographic of TikTok are female users between the age of 10 and 19. And as for Instagram, so you can see the major difference between Instagram use and TikTok. Only 8% of Instagram users are kids between the age of 13 and 17. So TikTok is mainly used by the younger generation, so teens and preteens and maybe young adults, while other maybe social media are being used by older people. Okay, still more statistics, and this one is focusing on teens. So we're looking now at the percentage of teens that say using social media makes them feel, and we're going to look at different factors. So only 3% said that social media make them feel more lonely. 3% only said that it makes them feel more depressed. 8% said that it makes them feel more anxious. And 20% said it makes them more confident, feel more confident. More popular, 20%, and 18% said that using social media makes them feel better. Still focusing on teens, we're gonna also look at those who use social media, and see, you can see how the statistics sometimes can be contradictory. So 70% they say sometimes they feel left out or excluded when they are using social media. 43% have deleted their social media posts because they got too few likes. 43% feel bad about themselves if no one comments or likes their posts. And 35% have been cyberbullied in using social media. So if we collectively look at what is the negative impact of excessive use of social media without parental influence. So I am emphasizing this. Negative impact of excessive use without a counteracting positive parental influence. So we could see the following. Cyberbullying, and cyberbullying, by the way, could happen no matter how connected the teen and the parents are. The difference is, in connected families, the parents are able to help the teen if the teen is experiencing cyberbullying. And in disconnected families, the teen feels alone when they are being bullied online because he or she is not connected to their family. And this applies to the rest of the stuff, by the way. The more connected the family, the more the parents and teens are actually engaged and they talk, then the better the family can handle any of these problems that we have listed. So cyberbullying, depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, identity confusion, kind of like what we talked about last week about the sexual and gender identity confusions. Like some of you said earlier, being online exposes the teen to information from the world that maybe necessarily we as a family would not have wanted the child to be exposed to or the teen to know about it. Loss of space to nurture effective social skills, because if the teen is online all the time, on the computer, on the phone, how are they learning the actual face-to-face effective social skills in dealing with people? How can they make eye contact if they are they are actually connecting with people through a screen? There is a barrier, so many things could happen. They don't need to be themselves. They could hide themselves. They could turn off their camera. And so they don't learn how to be assertive, how to actually set boundaries, proper boundaries in real life. Like if you're online and you're bothered by someone, it's only a click away. I click away and I'm out. Okay, I'm not online anymore, but how do I assert, or how do I do boundaries when I'm in school, when I'm faced with somebody who's bullying me in school, or if I go to the store and someone disrespects me? These skills cannot happen online. These skills, they need to happen in real life. Another problem with the excessive use of social media is the disconnect from the reality of life, because typically when we go online, or we are focusing on only what interests us. So you actually don't see the wide lens of the whole world. So let's assume somebody who's depressed. They go online, and most of the time they're going to be looking for things that will confirm for them their view of the world as being negative, because that they are validating what they're thinking or feeling. Definitely a decrease of physical activity from excessive online presence, because we're not moving, and definitely a huge loss of opportunities to experience, to be able to contribute to others in the community. Like the simple gestures that can happen only if we are person to person, face to face, like having a young person, for example, help an elderly person carry something. Just as a small example of the small gestures that happen in community, in face-to-face communities, and that we lose when we are just spending extravagant and excessive time online. So now I shared with you a lot of this information, and I want to now move to explaining how do we go from being online, using social media, and how does it lead to any of these negative ramifications. So we're going to explore the psychological process behind the ineffective use, if you will, of social media. So I just chose 4 different pictures that we could see on social media in any given day, and each one of them represents a different context and a different scenario. So if we begin with this one here, a group of boys, teen boys, who are just out there and having fun, and they post their picture on Facebook, Instagram, what have you, or they have a TikTok video, and you have a shy young man at home who actually knows these boys and who doesn't have friends, and he's watching the videos, he's watching the pictures. So this is the first scenario. Second one here, two young girls, just having fun out and about, and again, maybe a very shy, introverted young female is watching their life being shown on social media. Down here, a young couple who just got married, and they are posting their amazing pictures from their honeymoon. And we have a young female who is really trying very hard to get married. She really, really wants to be married, and she's having a hard time finding a good spouse. This one, a picture of this amazing, beautiful home that is actually overlooking the ocean. And a friend of this particular person is just watching all these posts on social media of the home and what it looks like and how amazing it is and how happy she is. So these are different 4 scenarios. And I'm going to invite one of you to role play with me. So I'm going to invite you to take on the role of any one of these 4. And then I'm going to take you one step by step to see how maybe for some people seeing these posts on social media could lead to something negative. So do I have a volunteer? It's a very easy process. You just have to make it up. It's not about right and wrong again. So if I can have someone, I would appreciate that.
I can do it. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Okay. Who's with me?
Hind.
Hind. Okay, Habibti Hind. So Hind, which scenario are you gonna choose?
I will choose the married one, the married new honeymoon couple.
This one. Okay. So we're gonna go through the psychological process. Okay. So you are a young woman who wants to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to highlight how some of these posts, when we see them online, they lead to a negative way of thinking. Okay, so because for some people, like some girls, for example, they would see the picture and then they would go, "Oh, mashallah, may Allah bless them, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them happiness." I don't want you to do this pathway. Okay, we want to focus on the negative pathway now. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
you got me. Okay.
Yes, I got you. Yeah.
So I'll show you. We're gonna go here. So we're gonna follow structure here. So do you all see the diagram on the screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Very good. So Hind, the event is you saw the picture of your friend in her honeymoon. That's the event. Okay. Next is, I want to know, what were your thoughts when you saw the picture?
That's a beautiful place. I wish I'll be there. Oh my God. Imagine that, all that love she's getting, and I'm over here being lonely. I wish I can have fun, something like this. Look at her dress. Look, I wish I can get dressed like this and go out. Oh, I didn't travel for so long. I want someone to take me to a beautiful place. I'm not being loved. Where's that person?
Oh, wow. Hint, Inti, Wallah, you got me. Bravo.
I feel that, Sister Nuha, because I want to take it as a personal thing. For me personally, I have friends who are divorced. I have friends who are separated, who I know personally they're not happy with their family. For me, if I post about my husband, I need to be considerate of their feelings, you know? For me, it's not about, also, like, everything you post, you need to be considerate how someone would never have it, you know? Yeah. It's easy for you, but they would never have it. Yeah. So yes. So that's the thought I go every time I post something.
Bravo.
If that person who's following me, who's my friend, am I gonna hurt that person or not? If I wanna show something, I will send that person personally what I'm doing, so I would not hurt someone else.
Okay, so now let's continue with this. And this is beautiful. So now we did the event, we did the thoughts, and the next step is actually feeling. So based on all the thoughts you shared with me, I wish to go there. Nobody loves me. I love the dress she's wearing. I wish I can wear this dress. I've never traveled. What kind of feelings are you having?
I'm lonely. Also, I'm feeling not loved. Okay. I feel like, why I'm not loved. I start looking at my body. What's wrong with my body? What's wrong with my personality? Yes. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mad at me not getting that thing, that certain thing.
Yes. So you went to the second step, which is fine. But so we have the event, we have thoughts, we have feelings, and the next step is decision. And decision is either secondary thoughts or an action. So in this case, you gave me the secondary thoughts, Habibti. You told me, why isn't Allah, what did you say about Allah?
That Allah is giving me these things that giving other girls my age, and they have,
Exactly. So can you think of an action that you may take based on this particular event?
Well, I'm seeing around me, girls will start changing, for example, for their looks, like doing plastic surgeries or getting dressed differently. Or, for example, I seen girls like taking off their hijab because like they want to fit in a certain criteria that these guys would be liking. You know, she'll be started changing and not believing in herself and she want to change for others to be loved.
Yes, beautiful and well done. So now I'm gonna add one more thing to this. This is what I call the psychological process. Okay, it explains how events in our life, they lead to thinking, and from the thinking we go to feelings, and the thinking and the feeling, they lead us to some kind of decision, and the decision is either negative secondary thoughts or a positive secondary thoughts, and we'll talk about this in a minute, or we take an action. Okay, so Hind, if I can work with you, just to give an example, you gave me an example of negative secondary thoughts was why Allah is not giving me this stuff. Does Allah doesn't love me? I hear this or I'll tell you what I hear also. I hear in my office sometimes from young people, especially in this situation. I have done everything right. I was a very pious Muslim. Okay. Why isn't Allah giving me what I want? Because sometimes for our kids, we tell them, worship Allah and do this so Allah can give you everything that you want. And then these kids, they grow up into young adults believing that everything that they want is going to materialize because they're being good Muslims. And we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran has said, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. We have created humans in constant afflictions and trials and difficulties. We're not sending our kids this message. We're not telling them life is difficult. And even though you are going to be a good Muslim and you're going to do everything right, sometimes Allah is going to send you they are not hearing this message from us. So some of our children, those of us who are raising children in the US, because the US is all about being happy and that we have rights and we can do everything we want. These are the messages of the US. So sometimes we kind of Islamicize them when they have nothing to do with Islam. Allah did not promise us happiness. He did not say that. He said, do good and do, and obey for your life. Yeah. No.
But Sister Noha, and we like exactly what you're saying, happiness. And I think social media is putting happiness in certain aspect that this is what's happiness.
Exactly.
And people will start thinking I need to achieve that to be happy.
Well said. Well said. So now help me here, Hind. Okay, let's give an example of a positive secondary thought. So let's assume it's the same scenario. Picture of my friend who's on her honeymoon. And then I started by saying, oh, I wish I'm married. I wish, I have a nice husband like hers. I wish I'm traveling. And I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling sad. And then instead of the negative, why is Allah doing this to me? Why is Allah not sending me the right husband? Let's think about a realistic thought that is going to help us contain the situation and minimize us feeling sad and depressed and lonely. So anything that comes to your mind, Hind, that will be helpful. So the green arrow is for things that are helpful. Red are for things that will actually make the situation worse. Any idea?
Positive thoughts about
realistic.
Realistic
sometimes we're not going to have a positive thought, by the way. Let me be very clear. Sometimes we just need a realistic thought that is tied to the situation,
I think she will be trying to reach, put herself out as telling her friends, yes, I'm willing to get married. For example, she would be telling her friends, yes, I am ready to get married. Yeah, I would like to meet someone. Let her intention to be out that, yes, I'm willing to meet someone.
So that would be an action because
that will be an action. And a thought is, I think this is not just a thought, it's a work of progress, which is, I'm worth it. I am and this is it's not just a thought. It's just it's a work she needs to get done. Yes. It's not an overnight thing. She needs to work all her life to get accepting herself. I will get, inshallah, something when I'm ready to get it. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would send it to me.
Inshallah. Okay, beautiful, Hind. So let's see. The next slide talks about up here. I hope you can all see it, the oval up here. Do you guys see this oval here that says believe?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So this whole psychological process also says that children, when they are young, they actually establish unconsciously, it's not a conscious thing, they establish some beliefs about themselves, about who they are, about what others are, and what life is, and what is it that they need to do in order to survive and thrive in the world. So these beliefs here, they actually fuel the thoughts that are that come after the event. So for example, let me tell you, thank you Habibti for working with me. I really appreciate it. I'll give you examples of beliefs, guys. So I'll give you an example of a helpful belief that helps the child grow up to be resilient and able to face the world. So for example, I am important. And this is not important, egotistical important. No, this is the important in terms of like my family cares about me, my family loves me, I am important in my family. That kind of important, okay? Versus another child that may believe that I am invisible. Nobody sees me in the family. An example of others are nurturing, others are loving, others are sensitive to my needs. Those are all good beliefs that help the child grow up into a resilient, citizen. Versus, for example, others are mean, others are busy with their lives. Just to give you an idea about a negative belief. If we go to life, life is hard sometimes, because this is an important message I'm really hoping that parents will send to their children. Life is hard sometimes, but my family is there to support me. That's a very good belief about life. Okay, versus another child who could say, life is miserable. Nothing good is happening in life. I hope you can see the different impact of the different beliefs, and these happen very early in a child's life. They happen by the age of 5. And again, they are very unconscious, and they are dependent on the child's perception of what's happening in their family, and then they extrapolate from their perception and the events of their life, they extrapolate these beliefs. And typically these beliefs are formed because of repeated incidents. So we're not talking about like 1 or 2 or 3 negative incidents happening in the child's life and then he has some negative beliefs. No, we're talking about a lot and many hundreds and maybe even thousands of different incidents that are happening, and they are leading to the same conclusion, same negative conclusion for him. Because as you know, you saw in the flyer that Huwaida sent, good enough parenting. We're not talking about being perfect parents, because nobody is a perfect parent. We're all gonna make mistakes. But our children, you know what? They are very forgiving. Very forgiving. As long as our positive interactions with them outweigh the negative interactions, we are doing good enough parenting with them. Alhamdulillah. Okay, let's see. Now, what's next, inshallah? Okay, so again, I want to emphasize for you, what are you modeling to your children? And what life messages are you sending with regards to social media and other things in your life? So now, what are we going to do with this issue, with this particular struggle with social media? So definitely we need to have a talk with our children. First, we need to begin by what are we modeling? Okay, like really be very honest with ourselves, because if we are modeling what we don't want them to do, then the change needs to begin with us. If we are the ones who are spending our life on the phone all the time, we need to change that. Okay, then what are we going to do with our children? Definitely have the talk about social media use, talk about how it has benefits, it has challenges, talk about the virtual world versus the real world. Talk about the difference between the two, because the virtual world, talk about how people can put up a facade on online. They could, for example, put the picture of someone else and pretend that that person is them. Just, you would think that children would, like, it's like, oh, it's like common sense. Like, of course they should know that. No, we are going to actually sit and have these conversations with them. Make sure that everything is covered. Talk about your rules as a parent and what are your expectations of their use of social media. Emphasize that having a smartphone and having access to social media is a privilege, is not a right. Because unfortunately, with all the messaging in the US, kids believe they have too many rights, that it's not a right, it's a privilege. Emphasize that the parents are the ones who own the phone and they own the line, and they are the ones who are actually can stop the line, they can take away the phone. Make sure that this message is there. And talk about how you will be monitoring, not spying. I want to emphasize this very much. So let your children know you will be monitoring their social media use. So they can't come back to you and tell you, oh, you're spying on me. As long as you are very transparent about, you are going to be watching what they're doing, and you're going to have conversations with them. If things are not going according to your rules and expectations, then, as long as you are doing this, you're in the safe side. And then the last thing is talk about sometimes what will be the consequences if social media is not being used appropriately. Another thing to do is, also part of monitoring them is talk to your children about whether you are going to be friending them on these different apps. Are you going to be one of their friends, or are you just going to be following what they're doing? Are you going to post on their profiles? Are you going to respond to some of their whatever they're posting? Just have a discussion with them. For the rules, I'm highly emphasizing the following. You have to have rules about no screen spaces. And what I mean by that, get your children from an early age to know that computers and smartphones are to be used in public places. They are not to be used behind closed doors. Also have a rule about what are the times when electronics are not to be used. For example, dinner time. You model that first, and you also put your phone away during dinner and ask them all that no one is going to be using their phone while we're sitting all together to have dinner. You could also have a rule about no one can access social media before homework. Now, in order for these rules to be effective, you need to have a specific way of how are you going to actually follow through with this? What are you personally going to do? Because to expect that the child is just going to listen to your rule and follow it is not realistic. As children, they love to challenge you and they love to actually break the rules. So don't wait for them to just follow the rules from the get-go. No, you establish the rule and you figure out how are you going to implement it and how are you going to enforce it. Make sure that privacy settings for social media accounts is on and location services for social media is off, okay? And make sure that you are very clear with your children about not sharing addresses, full name, passwords, social security numbers, and back information. I know for some of you, it's just like, it seems like this is very common sense, but we need to have the talk with the children. and we need to monitor, not spy, but monitor. I wanted to do 2 role plays with you. One is about some ineffective and effective communication or conversations regarding social media. And the other one is a role play for how to do problem solving with a teen. We're having a problem around social media or the internet with. What I would love to have is to have 2 people who will volunteer to be teens. And I'm going to be reading different statements to you. And then I'm going to check in with you and see what are you thinking, feeling, and deciding when you are hearing these statements. Who would like to volunteer?
Me, inshallah.
And your name? Okay, Sahar. Okay, may I have another volunteer? So we have Sahar and we have Dr. Tayyip. Dr. Tayyip Halal, I'm going to address you as a teen. I'm not going to call you Dr. Tayyip. I'm going to address you as Tayyip. Malish, yani.
No problem.
Okay, so I have a list of seven statements, okay, that I'm gonna say to Sahar, and 7 statements that I'm gonna say to Tayyip, okay, and I'm gonna alternate between the 2. So I want each one of you, Sahar and Tayyip, to just listen to this statement and see what's coming up for you. What are you thinking, feeling, and deciding? Everyone else also listen and reflect on the statements. And so what I'm actually gonna highlight is different things we say in our conversations with our teens regarding social media. So some of them are effective and some of them are not effective. Okay? So, Sahar.
Sorry.
Yeah, so you guys don't need to respond while I'm reading the sentences, but after I'm done with all 7, then I'm going to check in with both of you, okay? And I'm going to be calling your name when I read your sentence, and then I'm going to call Tayyip's name when I read his sentence, so you know the difference between who's getting what. Okay, I'm going to begin with Sahar. So, Sahar, do you think you make the rules here? Tayyip. I am worried about how much time you're spending on social media. Sahar, tough, huh? There are many things I don't like doing too. Tayyip, let's discuss this. I'm free all day Saturday. When do you want us to talk? Sahar, because I said so. When you pay the bills around here, you can make the rules. Tayyip, that is one way of thinking about it. I look at it differently. Are you ready to hear me? Sahar, I'll tell you what's okay and not okay for you. Tayyip, in our house, no screen curfew is 9 p.m. Sahar, don't start on that topic again. I don't want to hear it. Tayyip, we can listen to each other without having to agree. Sahar, I really don't care if you like it or not. I'm the parent. Tayyip, if I find that you are taking the phone into your room after the no screen curfew, I will keep it in my room at night. Sahar, again, you post something inappropriate on TikTok? How many times do I have to remind you? Do you promise you will not do it again? Promise me you will not. Tayyip, you may use social media as long as you are respectful of yourself, our values, and others. Otherwise, I will say no until I am okay trying again. Sahar, you have demonstrated that you are not trustworthy. Don't expect me to make the first move. You have to prove yourself to me. Tayyip, as long as I have access to your social media accounts, you may have your fun. Okay, now, let's take a deep breath And let's hear from Sahar and Dr. Taif. What were you thinking, feeling, and deciding as you were listening to these different ways of communicating?
I feel in all of the sentence, almost not to last two, it's good. It is encourage and good, but all of them, the beginner, I feel down. I feel control. I feel no respect.
You feel lasting what?
No respect.
No respect. You're not respected.
Yeah. Control. في تسلط. في سيطرة. في تمرد.
And you want to rebel against me.
Yeah, I feel يعني something, you know. يعني اولا جزاك الله خير. انا حضرت حضرتك محاضره في الجامعه وكانت جميله جدا، وكانت كده طبعا في مدرسه النور، ما شاء الله عليكي، ففعلا بتطلعي مشاعر يعني ما شاء الله. لا اول sentence so bad يعني I feel يعني it should make me down. يعني self esteem put me down. Control much. Yeah.
You felt shut down.
Yeah, and control too much and
control too much. Yeah.
But last two sentence is good, and last one I feel encouraged.
The last two that you got.
Last two I got, I think, yeah.
Do you promise me you will not do it again? Promise me you won't?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel hope. This one is good.
Because there was some hope, and then the next one about prove to me. But when I tell you you have to prove yourself to me, do you know how you're gonna prove yourself to me?
No. يعني something open. يعني you don't give instruction. You have to give, I think, instruction. يعني clear instruction. Yeah.
Exactly, Sahar. Exactly. Okay, thank you, Habibti. Jazakallah khair. Thank you.
Allah jazakallah khair wa yakum.
Okay, Dr. Taif, what were you thinking, feeling, and deciding?
Well, at first I felt that the teen had to defend himself, and he was very aggressive. And then after that, the teen actually took the role of trying to mediate and find a way to negotiate his way with the mom by picking the time, trying to show her things that can be worked out. But at the same time, I felt that there was a double standard where the teen himself is seeing that the mom, even after the curfew, okay, she's doing what she wants to do. So she's imposing rules that are unfair upon the teen while she's not even imposing the rules on herself.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest challenges that I think here in this communication is when, the teen is always going to feel like he's being singled out, and then the issue of posting stuff on the media, sometimes from the way from the optical point, then we're looking at stuff, they see it as normal, but whereas for us, it is still abnormal due to cultural or age, position that we're in, and we might not understand it, just like the lingo that they are using, the language using about something. I mean, the first time I heard my kids refer to something as, oh, that's very sick. And I was like, well, why you say that? It's actually very nice. Well, we find out to be that very sick means now it's very good,
Right.
So that's where the issue here, I feel like, even if we're to impose and monitor, we really have to be, the parents have to be up to date on what they're monitoring is. Is it really that harmful, or is it our interpretation of it being harmful?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I just to highlight the sentences I was sharing with Sahar were ineffective sentences for communication. And the sentences I was sharing with Dr. Taif were more effective. Now, every situation will require maybe a different sentence. We're not going to use all of them in all situations, but I was just trying to present to you a much more, like Sahar was talking about, like her sentences felt disrespectful and much controlling for her. And I was trying to present to you a different way of how can you actually keep your boundaries? How can you maintain your rules as a parent, while at the same time also being respectful and also working with the teen without letting go of your own values, of your own rules. So this was the first role play about effective communication. Next role play is about how to do some problem solving with a teen. So if I am inviting somebody to volunteer to be a teen, and we're gonna decide on a specific problem, and then I'm gonna go through the steps of how we can maybe problem solve this particular problem. So who would like to volunteer?
I can volunteer again.
Okay, this is Hind.
Him, yeah.
Okay, Hind. Okay, so let's you and I agree on what is it that we are going to brainstorm. So what do you, Yani, maybe suggest a scenario for me, and then you and I, we're gonna problem solve, inshallah.
About screen time, for example, I have a set up time, and my kids is like, no, my friends sit on it for so long. Why you limit it for us? Why my friends can be on it as much as they can?
Okay. So, so what we are going to problem solve is the time that you as my teen is spending on their, you're spending on your screen, right?
Yeah, I want to be like my friends, and I want to be as much as I want on my social media or gaming or anything I want on my screens.
Okay, very good, excellent. So, Hen, you're gonna just make up things as we're going through this, okay? And make up things without kind of like making it difficult. What I mean by that is go with what's going on with you as we're having this problem solving. So as we are going through the steps, don't say to yourself, for example, oh, no teen will be, for example, okay with this, so I have to say no. For example, if you're feeling that you want to say yes to me while we're doing this problem solving, say yes. If you are feeling as we are doing this that you want to tell me no, say no. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, I would have a reasoning why I'm saying no,
Yeah.
and a request.
Yeah, and go by what is coming up for you in the role play. Like really put yourself in the role play.
Okay.
Don't detach from the role play and say to yourself,
Okay.
no teen would do this.
Okay.
Because if it's coming up for you, that means it's gonna come up for teens too.
Mhm.
Okay, so okay, so what we are going to demonstrate right now is what is called a joint problem solving process. This is it doesn't mean it's guaranteed that it's gonna get the parents where they want to go, but it actually opens up the conversation and helps the team to feel understood and heard. And then with time, yes, maybe they can get to a solution that they both agree on. So, okay, inshallah, hala, we're gonna begin. So I am the parent, Hind is the teenager. And Hind, how old are you?
I am 15.
15. And Hind, you have a smartphone, right?
Yes.
Okay. And okay, so
Can I change the case so I can put it into more related to me, as in my daughter? Can I make it as I'm a 10-year-old and I want a smartphone like my other kids?
Oh, wow. That's much more realistic for you. Okay. And it's
Yes.
actually a challenge for many people. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. So you are 10 years old and you would like to have a smartphone.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So Hind Habibti, come and sit next to me.
Mhm.
And we are going to go ahead and talk about your request to have a smartphone. Okay. So I noticed that we are having a problem, you and I, over this issue, because you want to have a smartphone now. And I am telling you, you can have a smartphone when you turn 13. Okay. So we need to discuss this. Are you open for us to have a discussion without us kind of attacking each other or hurting each other?
Yes.
Okay, Habibti. So I want you to tell me your thoughts and ideas about the smartphone, that wanting a smartphone right now. Just tell me your feelings, your ideas, your thoughts.
My friends have it. I can take videos on it. I can call my friends when I come back from school. I can text my friends. I can call my aunts and my family too. and I want to connect with my fam, and all my friends have it. All my friends have it, and you can call me anytime you want. First of all, it's safe. It's safer because you would know everywhere I am.
Okay. What else, Habibti?
And also because I need it. Everyone needs a phone right now. Everyone has a phone.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And also, like right now, like everyone tells me at school about certain videos and things happen on TikTok, and I don't know anything that's happening in the world.
Mm.
And all my friends talk about it.
Mm. Okay. Mm-hmm. What else?
That's it. I need a phone. So I need a phone.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what I heard from you, Habibti Hind, is the following. It's really, really very important for you to feel that you are like everyone else at school and that you have a phone like them. It's very important to you.
Yes, because they are my friends and we need to talk to each other.
Okay. You also told me that you see having a phone as a safety thing because then I will know where you are anytime.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I also heard you say that everyone needs a phone nowadays because everyone has a phone.
Yes.
And you also told me that you would like to make videos with that phone and share it with your friends.
Yes.
And also you told me you want to be able to talk to your friends when you come home from school, and to feel connected to them.
Yes, and also they always be showing me stuff I can't see before, and they show me stuff on their phones, and I don't know anything is happening.
So
And they all have phones.
So you are feeling left out. You go to school and they have shared stuff between them at school,
Yes.
at home, and you go to
Yes.
school and you haven't been part of that.
And I feel left out.
And you feel left out. And you want to be able to see these videos that they are seeing at home when they are seeing it.
Yeah, and also they comment on it, and I know like they talk to each other all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the phone for you is actually an important piece of connection for you with your friends after you come back from school.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So it's all about connection for you.
Yes, and also safety too. You would know where I will be.
That's your argument, Habibti. Yes, I know. Yes. طيب. Okay, Hind. Are you willing to listen to my concerns about you having a phone right now?
Of course.
You are? Okay. Because go ahead.
Because like I know I need it. I know it's very necessary because everyone has it.
Yes, I understand. This is your point of view. This is how you see it. That's true. I know this is how you see it. It doesn't mean I see it this way, but I am checking to see if you are willing to hear my point of view about it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to ask you also after I'm done that you tell me what you heard me say, just like I did with you.
Okay.
And so if you need to also write down so you can remember what I said, you can do that. It's up to you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So my number one point is I see the issue of the phone differently than you do. You see it as a need. I, as your mom right now, see it as not a need. So we don't see eye to eye in terms of whether the phone is a need right now or not. Number two, I understand what you're saying about safety, that I will feel more comfortable knowing that you have a phone and I can call you at any given time. However, I am your mom and you're still 10 years old, and you don't go places yet without me knowing where you are. So I don't see it as a safety point right now. Number three, I appreciate that you need the phone, or you want, not need, you want the phone so you can connect with your friends after school. So maybe we can find a solution for that outside of buying a phone. We can think, you and I, about how we can solve this particular issue without you necessarily having a phone.
So what I heard is that you don't want me to have a phone because you don't believe I need to have a phone. That's the first thing you said. Because you think I don't need to have a phone, but I think I made my case that I need a phone. And also the second point that you're saying I don't need to have a phone because I'm not going anywhere. I go to school. I go to school, and also I'm going to go to soccer. And I go to my friend's house sometimes. I go play outside sometimes too.
Yeah.
Of course, I go a lot of places. And you're saying I can't talk to my friends after. Where am I gonna see my friends? After we go home, we don't talk to each other, and they share things on the phone right now. Everything is on the phone.
So Hind Habibti, you're not repeating what I'm saying. What you're doing is you're responding to me right now. That's not what I said at all.
You said you don't want me to have a phone because you don't believe that I need to have a phone.
I didn't exactly say that I don't want you to have a phone. I just gave you the difference of opinion between me and you.
Why you don't want me to have a phone?
I gave you my opinions about the phone based on what you think, the reasons why you think you need to have a phone. That's all I gave you. I gave you my response to your
No, I feel
criteria.
very frustrated right now because I didn't get any answers. Like you're just telling me your opinion, but I'm very frustrated right now. I'm very angry. Literally, I went into it, and I'm very angry right now, and that you're not telling me any reasons.
Okay,
you're
so
telling me I don't go anywhere. Of course, I go places. And you're telling me I can't do it because I can't see my friends after school. Of course I need a phone.
So Habibti, and right now you're frustrated and angry. So I'm not sure now is a good time to continue this conversation because you're not listening to me.
But you're not giving me good answers or good reasons.
You are not going to be convinced with my reasons, Habibti Hind. They're not going to convince you. Because my reasons are coming from a different place than your place, Habibti. You're seeing the
try to explain them to me.
I explain them. You are not convinced by them, and you want me to explain them until you are convinced. And I'm telling you, you are not going to be convinced, Habibti.
Why I'm not going to be convinced? I go to school. I understand everything, and of course, I'm convinced. I'm 10 right now. I can be convinced. I can understand what you're trying to tell me. Just tell me your reasons.
I gave you my reasons. You can repeat them again, Habibti.
You told me 3 reasons. You told me you don't want me to have it because you have a different belief.
I did not begin by saying I don't want you to have a phone. That's not how I began.
You told me that you have a different reasoning why you don't want me to have it.
I didn't say that too. Okay, so now what's happening now, this is where I would actually end the conversation. I would end it and I would say, we're not going anywhere right now. You are very angry and very frustrated by my reasonings that you do not like, and they are not convincing you, and we're not going anywhere. And so we're going to stop this conversation right now, and we can have this conversation again another time when you are calm and when I am calm, and then we can also see where we're going to go with that. And I'm going to also invite you to focus on number 3, Habibti Hind, because that's where you might find some different solution beside the solution that you have in your mind, which is I need to have a fun. And we end it here. So I would give you a hug here, Hind, even though you're angry and upset and frustrated, and you're not convinced, and you believe that I am the worst mom in the whole world. I'll give you a hug, and then we'll separate. And this is what I meant in the beginning. If you are firm about your rules and your boundaries, you are going to have these kind of conversations with your children that they are not going to like, and they are not going to be convinced. And they may keep asking you to convince them, and you need to stop that and say, I already gave you my reasons. You're not going to be convinced because you don't like them. So not to try and repeat again and again because they need to be convinced. Kids are not going to be convinced by your rules because we parents see the situation differently than them. And until they grow up and get to the stage or the age we're in, they're not going to see it from our lens. Okay, Hind. So share with us your frustration with this role play.
I felt like I was not listened to, and you just had a certain belief. You're not like you did not explain my reason. Like you did not explain your reason. Like I felt like I did not see your reasoning, and it was not clear for me. You're telling me, yeah, but also I don't know. Is it like at that moment we should not be lecturing our kids because their emotions are high? Like we should stop. That's it, and we should not be lecturing. So, is it whenever we open that topic with them, they're gonna be frustrated, or you think when we open it later on in a different situation, they'll be more calm about it?
So this is a very good question because it depends on how firm the parents are about this particular rule, okay? If the parents are firm about the rule and at this particular point and they don't want to change, yes, with repeated conversations, the kids will ultimately be calm about it because they see that the parents are not moving, they're not shifting. They're actually steadfast on their particular view about this, even though they're not convinced. If the kid feels there is some wiggle room and there is some wishy-washy from the parents, they're going to keep hammering until they get their point.
So it's all testing limits, basically.
Sorry?
All of it testing their limits with us.
Oh, of course. And from their point of view, I'm putting myself in the shoes of a 10-year-old. Yes, I see it as a need. Yes, I see it. Everyone is doing it. Yes, I want to be like everyone else. Of course, I'm going to be angry and upset. So I'm not going to minimize any of that. But the question is, does that mean I'm going to give in and tell her, yeah, okay, khalas, let's give you a phone? This is why I'm bringing it back to the parents. What is your rule? What is your boundary? What do you want us? It's very important for us to understand ourselves and understand where we stand on issues before we go into these conversations with the children. And if we are not sure about something, then we tell them. We tell them, you know what? I'm not sure what's my position on this. I want to think about it. So you tell me what you think and I'll share with you what I'm thinking, but I'll let you know what is my final answer or what's my final decision or something like that.
Thank you.
Okay, Habibti. Thank you. Thank you for volunteering. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. We have about 5 more minutes. So let's see. Do we have any questions? Let's see. what do we say to the kids when they say, why do I need to listen to why I have to listen to your rules? Because I'm the parent, simply. I'm the parent, and that's why. That's simple, and keep it short. Okay, thank you. You are talking, you're talking like 100% like my demanding strong son. Okay. Since I don't have a phone, my friends are showing me the stuff. I can't see it on their phone. Yes. And kids are gonna see things that you are not gonna be okay with. So it's important for you to not believe that you can control that. What's important is for you to focus on your connection and your relationship with them so that you can counteract negative messages or whatever negative things they are seeing. If you don't have a good connection with them, you're not going to have an influence in their life. Okay, any other question? The same things we talked about social media apply to online gaming. It's the same idea, guys. You have to set limits on how much and where. And the same impact also on social media use. We are noticing the same negative impact of excessive online gaming. Excessive online. I'm emphasizing the word excessive because for some kids, actually playing online games is very helpful for them because it helps them build specific skills. Like, for example, my second son was one of those kids who actually benefited from playing games online. But the way we contained it is he was allowed to play only 1 hour a day. He wasn't allowed to play 10 hours or what have you. So, and he had to play 1 hour, it was related to his homework too. So always put things in perspective. There are positives, there are negatives. What are my rules? What are the boundaries? How am I going to enforce the boundaries? Because if you don't have a way of you personally as the parent enforcing these boundaries in your home, it's a losing battle. I'm telling you. And unfortunately, I have noticed that many parents, they let go of what they can control and they focus on what they cannot control. What do I mean by that? You're the one who buys the phone, you're the one who pays the bill, you can shut the line if you have to. If there are major problems happening, simply shut the line. Why keep the phone line going if there are major problems happening? So I'm just reminding you, you do have power. My problem nowadays is with parents letting go of their power and just focusing on the kids, that the kids have to obey them and the kids have to listen to them. And that's not how Allah created kids.
Sister Anuha, to what age we have that control on like phones and social media? Because when we give them the control and the trust and let go, what age?
After 18. But let me tell you, let's assume one of you who's listening today have a family and you have teens who are like, let's say 16, and they have been used to the idea until now that the phone goes into their room. They have the laptop in their room, and now you're going to enforce these rules. You're going to actually get into a big fight with them. So if it's already late for you, you need to weigh your battles. Is this an important battle that you have to fight right now? Or is there something else? Do you have a bigger battle that you need to fight over? So you need to pick your battles. Just because today I'm talking about the boundaries around the use of social media doesn't mean that for you specifically in your situation, that's what you need to go and apply right now. Because every family is the expert on their situation. Some families have bigger problems, guys. And this issue of social media is very minor compared to other problems. So each one of you can assess what is the battle I need to fight right now? what's more important for me right now to focus on. But if you start early with the limits and boundaries around this use of electronics, yes, I expect you to be able to maintain these limits until the age of 18. But you have to start early. The question is, how do we apply what we read from the book? Should we read it openly with the kids? It's better if whatever you're using from the book is you change it into something that you are actually having a conversation about. So not to read it, like you can write down, for example, points and then have a conversation with the kids around these points. It will be much more effective than just reading it with the kids. So write down the points, have a conversation, ask them, what do you think? Ask them give me, share with me examples. Have you seen this with someone? And just open conversation, inshallah. Opening conversations with kids over 18 is very important, yes, but not necessarily only about the phone. Just to kind of like have a connection and to check in with them, and so they know that if there is something on their mind, they can come and talk to you about. Yes, absolutely. It's very important for conversations to be going on, but not to force the conversations though, because sometimes they don't want to talk to you. So so if you so usually we as parents, we notice things about our children, that they're not aware that we notice things about them. So if you are noticing something about your son or your daughter, then you tell them, I have observed, and whatever it is that you have observed. For example, I have observed that you're not spending time with us as you used to. You're not eating dinner with us every day like you used. For example, I'm just giving you random examples.
Yeah, you're right. This has happened, really. This has happened.
Yeah. So you say something like, what have you observed? Like, what's the change? And then you say, I just want you to know I'm here for you. If you want to talk about anything, if you want to discuss anything, I'm here for you. Feel free, come. And that's it. Sometimes we say to the child, the young adult, not the child, I'm sensing something is going on. I don't know what it is. I'm just worried about you. So, because that's exactly sometimes what happens with us parents. We can't really define or pinpoint what's exactly going on, but we're concerned. So we just sharing that by itself is huge. It's really very helpful and very important. And then you give them the space whether to come and talk to you or not talk to you. So sometimes with our young adults, we need to share our observations and give them space because khalas, they're young adults, subhanallah. And just let them know we are there for them, we love them, we support them, we want to help them. Sometimes in other situations, we have to do interventions. Like, for example, if a young adult is addicted to drugs, we're not just gonna say, I love you and I'm here for you. No, we're gonna actually be more active because this is a bigger problem now. So I hope I answered your question.
جزاك الله خير. الله بارك الله فيك. Allah accept for everything you do. Allah بارك الله فيك.
All of us, inshallah.
Thank you, everybody. Jazakumullah khair for attending this session. Inshallah, we'll consider other topics and we'll try to build on these lectures. Jazakallah khair, Sister Nuha, for your time, your efforts, and enlightening us, and for the guidance you're providing everybody.
You're welcome.
And on behalf of Ansar Academy, Jazakumullah khair, everybody, and wish you a blessed and a happy weekend. And fi amanillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.